Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. From the shoe, Ohio Stadium on a beautiful day here in Columbus. The Iowa Hawkeyes coming to town to take on the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked number 2 in the nation. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson, along with my quarterback, Joel Klatt, and welcome to Columbus, folks. We've got a very interesting football game today. Ohio State ranked 2nd in the nation. They have the best offense in the country. So here's the story underneath the story. Can this Ohio State offense flourish against one of the top defenses in the country? Iowa ranked 3rd in scoring, 7th in total defense, 3rd in passing defense, and 24th in rushing defense.
I can't wait to find out. And I think really the entire college football world, all of us want to find out exactly how good this Ohio State offense is. And trust me when I tell you, they're led by one of the best quarterbacks in the country, a guy that has put himself right in line for a Heisman Trophy, potentially. C.J. Stroud, 70% completion, 1,700 yards, 24 touchdowns. What I love about his game is his ability to get the ball out on time and on target and allow for yards after the catch with these really skilled wide receivers. You talk about a prodigious talent. Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the best in all of college football. You team that up with Emeka Egbuka, who's been fantastic, and Julian Fleming. He's got 5 touchdowns, but today we're going to see maybe the best one of the bunch. Back in the fold, in the lineup, is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Last year, 1,600 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's been dealing with that hamstring injury ever since week 1, played a little in week 3, but now he's back against this very good defense. And Gus, you're exactly right. They're not just good this year, they've been good for a long time, and they understand their style of defense and the way to attack their opponent. They're going to make life very difficult on C.J. Stroud. He's got to remain patient, allow for a check down, because if he starts forcing the ball over the middle, he could turn it over, and that's the path to victory for Iowa.
All right, talked to Jackson Smith-Njigba before the game. He said there's no pain in that hamstring. Time now to join the 3rd member of our team on the sideline, the All-American girl, Jenny Tapp.
Well, Gus, as you and Joel just pointed out, Jackson Smith-Njigba is so happy to be back available. Only 38 snaps so far this season, and you talked to him, Gus. I talked to him as well. He could not stop smiling. He said, I am so happy, I am so blessed to be back. Now, Coach Day did share with me that he would be on a pitch count today. They want to be cautious with his return, and Day also said that if there is a positive in a very frustrating injury situation for their star, it is that so many other receivers have stepped up in his absence. One of those guys, well, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, he was asked this week how opposing defensive coordinators should handle their offense when Jackson Smith-Njigba was back available. His answer was perfect. He said, pick one of us to guard, say your prayers, because it's going to be a lot of fun out there. Gus?
All right, Jenny, Iowa won the toss. They will receive the football. What a perfect day here in Columbus. It's supposed to get up to 74 degrees today, 66 degrees, and sunny at kickoff time. So, the series note, Iowa won the last meeting back in 2017, 55-24. The most points allowed by an OSU team in 23 years. Jaden Fielding will kick it off for the Buckeyes. Caleb Johnson, the deep man for Iowa. Iowa coming off a 9-6 loss in Champaign against Illinois. Ohio State's last game, they beat Michigan State 49-20 in East Lansing. Buckeyes and Hawkeyes. And here we go from Columbus. And they'll bring it out of the end zone. And Iowa crossing the 15 up to the 18-yard line, and that'll bring out Spencer Petras.
This guy has got a lot of experience. 22 career Big Ten games for him. First against Ohio State, though. It's been a while. We do have a flag on that kickoff, so we'll wait to see what exactly the call is. But Petras is a guy that is playing behind an offensive line that's trying to develop.
That's either Zach Harrison or Jaden Ballard with the unsportsmanlike penalty, number 9. So Spencer Petras, 18 of 36, 170 yards, an interception, and he was sacked 5 times against Illinois last week.
And that's really been the problem, Gus, is that they have not been able to protect Petras. And this Buckeye defense, they can get after it, getting to the quarterback.
First down and 10 at the 32-yard line for Iowa. Petras sprinting out, delivers, and intercepted. McAllister still on his feet and finally goes down. Ohio State with an interception on the first play of the game, and they are in business.
Interception, first and 10, Ohio State.
McAllister is the transfer from Oklahoma State. He followed his defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, over here. This one, Petras just doesn't see him. One of the things Ohio State does is they disguise coverage. You see McAllister 15. He dropped down right into the path of the throw, and Petras never saw him as he was trying to get the ball out to 84 Sam Laporta, and that's about as easy an interception as you're going to find in a big game, and it sets up this high-flying, potent offense with great field position here early.
So Ohio State will start from the Iowa 29-yard line. Travion Henderson in the backfield. They give it to him on first down, and he'll pick up a couple. C.J. Stroud, 6'3", 218. He's a junior from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Last week, what a game against Michigan State. 21 of 26, 361, 6 touchdowns. 1 interception, and he was sacked once.
And he's been so good early in games. You know, this team, they just swamp you early. It's like an avalanche of points in the first half.
Second down and 9. Stroud to throw for the first time with time. Bounces out of the pocket, and he'll deliver underneath, incomplete. Ibuka, the intended receiver. But when you look at C.J. Stroud, Ryan Day always says about him, what's C.J. Stroud like? Ryan Day says, he's just different.
That's right. And he says it in the best way possible. And he's a smart quarterback. He's very intelligent. But again, he throws the ball so accurately and on time. And when you've got these great wide receivers, Gus, that's what allows them to be at their best, is giving them the opportunity to run after the catch, which CJ does quite often.
Third down and 9 at the 28. Can Ohio State pay it off after an early interception? Stroud delivers over the middle. Oh, almost intercepted by Iowa. Wow. They had a great opportunity. Quinn Schulte just couldn't hold on, and that'll bring up fourth down and the field goal unit.
Stroud's trying to find Ibuka, and he's going to come in on a little post from this side, but watch out as he overthrows him. Ibuka not quite on the same page, and Schulte definitely should have had that one. You can see the frustration. C.J. Stroud saying that ball is right there. Ibuka's got to get his head around quickly, and Schulte is unable to capitalize. That would have been a big moment for this Iowa team early after their interception on the other side.
So Noah Ruggles comes in to attempt a 46-yard field goal. He was 2 of 3 on the season. This one up and good. So Ohio State will settle for the 3 points after the interception. 3-0 Ohio State. Time for today's game flow, sponsored by Progressive. State with the lead, intercepting Spencer Petras of Iowa on the first play of the game. Caleb Johnson, the deep end, as the Buckeyes prepare to send it away. Fielding will put a toe into it. Johnson lets it go over his head for a touchback. So Iowa back on the field offensively. What's going on with this Iowa offense? They have struggled to score mightily.
Well, at Iowa, you better win the line of scrimmage and establish the run game if you're going to be a quality offense. And this year, they have a very young and underdeveloped offensive line. Richmond, DeYoung, Jones, Stevens, Colby, all guys that have a lack of experience. And I think that's really hurt them. As evidence, Gus, last time out against Illinois and in the previous game against Michigan, 9 sacks in those 2 ball games.
Petras, 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions this year. He rolls out of the pocket, throws on the run, wide side, incomplete. Defensively, let's take a look at the Buckeyes.
Well, this is the new look Buckeyes under their new defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. The strength of this defense is up front. A guy like Mike Hall Jr. has played really well. Teron Vincent, a great leader for them. JT Tuimoloau is probably the guy with the best top-end potential. Tommy Eichenberg, he's been the unsung hero for them. Really great at the linebacker position. And then they have been beat up and been a patchwork group in the secondary all year long.
Second down and 10 of the 25. And they'll hand it off on second down to Johnson. He'll get 3 yards. Cody Simon defensively for Ohio State.
But this defense, what they want to do is disguise their coverage. And that's what Jim Knowles is really known for. He was at Oklahoma State. He wants to disguise so that he can force the opposing quarterback to go to his second look, to pat the ball, for pause for a moment to try to get that quarterback pressure there.
Third down and 7. At the 28-yard line for Iowa. Petrus in the gun. Here's Petrus under pressure, gets it away and incomplete. Dangerous play. Tommy Eichenberg, Johnny on the spot. And that will force the Hawkeyes to punt.
Well, what you're going to see here from Eichenberg, watch his eyes right away go to the throw spot. Immediately his eyes go over to the tight end, and Sam Laporta is the guy Iowa wants to throw the ball to. He's the one that has to have a great game, and there you see the pressure as well right after the throw. Eichenberg knows the scouting report, knows where they want to go with the ball, and he immediately undercuts that tight end.
So Tory Taylor, one of the best punters in America, ready to send it away inside his own 15. Emeka Egbuka, the deep man. Egbuka signals for the fair catch and has it at the 24-yard line. A 48-yard punt, no return. C.J. Stroud, Heisman candidate, back on the field after this. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. AT&T 5G, fast, reliable, secure. And by Bear, today, let's paint. Iowa's last win in Columbus came in 1991, led by legendary coach Hayden Fry. Hawkeyes were able to stifle the Buckeyes, winning 16-9. Kirk Ferentz, longest tenured active head coach in college football, is under fire, and after a second game this season without scoring a touchdown. First down and 10 at the 24 for the Buckeyes. Travion Henderson motions out of the backfield, empty backfield for C.J. Stroud. Here's Stroud. Oh, and he's hit, lost it, picked up. Iowa, Joe Evans, touchdown Hawkeyes. We told you about this defense. They are mean and nasty.
This is exactly what they needed. First, you're going to get a little bit of a loop here. You're going to get the tackle going this way, and then here he comes, coming down from the interior, and boom! Stroud can't hold on to the ball. He picks it up, and he's gone. I tell you what, this defense needed to score. They needed to provide a short field, and they're able to get it done. This Iowa defense never disappoints. Year after year after year, they are one of the best defenses in college football, and there Evans pays it off. His own sack, his own fumble, his own recovery, and his own touchdown.
Joe Evans, a senior from Ames, Iowa. 6'2", 246, extra point up and good for Drew Stevens. So how about this? Hawkeyes come out hell-bent. They know this defense, that they have to help the offense, which has been struggling mightily the entire year.
This is the second straight game for Ohio State that they've given up a touchdown to the opposing defense. Against Michigan State early in the game, Stroud threw a pick six. Now, he did come right back, and that avalanche of points started, but Ryan Day and this offense is a bit shell-shocked. Remember, their first series, Gus, started with great field position after the interception from their own defense. They couldn't get anything going, gained a couple of yards, and then hit a field goal. And Phil Parker's defense does it again. They just have a nice, simple little stunt. Joe Evans wraps around, comes right into the interior, and the big key there, that was an empty backfield. So Stroud knows that he's got to get rid of the ball quickly, and he couldn't quite get to Jackson Smith and Jigba, his intended target, before Evans showed up with the big hit. Man, I tell you, like, it should never surprise us, but I guarantee you, like, everybody in America right now just looked at their phone and said, of course, Iowa scored a defensive touchdown. It's just what they do. And this is, as they explain it themselves, Gus, they explain themselves as misfits. And, you know, Quinn Schulte, these guys, Joe Evans, started their career as walk-ons. And there Joe Evans starts his career as a walk-on, winds up in the end zone in the shoe.
Third defensive touchdown for Iowa this year, plus 2 safeties. Hawkeyes send it away. This one will not be returned. Let's go downstairs and check in with JT.
Well, and Gus, I think it's important to note that this Iowa team, they weren't feeling defeated after the way the season has started. 3-3. Their defensive leader, Jack Campbell, telling me that they took the bye week to reflect and realize that we need to finish. That has been the issue. And in so many ways, what they do defensively, he said, if we frustrate them, we know we can get in their head. We know we're capable of doing that against Ohio State. There was no intimidation in coming into the shoe and playing against this team, and we're seeing it on display so far.
Ohio State, great team, but every great team has an Achilles heel. What is the Achilles heel for this Buckeye squad? They have not revealed it so far as they stay on the ground with Travion Henderson. Henderson has been banged out. Seth Benson with the tackle after a gain of 4. Let's take a look at the Bucs on 0.
Well, it's been a while now. We're finally going to get to their lineups. We've had so much action up front. Watch out for Donovan Jackson. I think he's their best offensive lineman, the left guard. And then on the outside, just a lot of talent and speed, and they haven't been able to get loose yet.
Second down and 6. Stroud to throw it with time to the sideline. Out wide, Harrison with the reception. Marvin Harrison, what a job he's been doing this season. We'll talk about it. But here are the Hawkeyes on D.
Well, this is a defense that is as good as any in the country. And I think Jack Campbell is really the guy that makes them go. Number 31, the Mike linebacker, Captain Jack, as we like to call him. He is big, he's fast, he's physical. And then that secondary, Cooper DeJean, he's the one that you really got to pay attention for. He's got 3 interceptions on the year.
Third down and 1 at the 34. For the Buckeyes. And Henderson looking for the first down and has it. Jack Campbell with the tackle on Travion Henderson as he picks up 4 yards.
This is an important series, obviously, for Ohio State after the way that this game has started for them on the offensive side, trying to get some semblance of consistency going.
Ohio State getting into the line quickly. They'll toss it. Henderson picks his way forward. Travion Henderson, nice run. Last week, 19 carries, 118 yards, a touchdown. He has a little hitch in his gait because he's been dinged up this season, which has cost him more than 2 games of playing time. And a leg injury on the first drive against Toledo that cost him the rest of that game. Now Williams in, who's also been injured. They fire it out wide. It's caught by Harrison again. Marvin Harrison Jr., the son of the legend Marvin Harrison. Riley Moss with the tackle. 7-yard gain.
Well, Harrison is a prodigious talent, and this is the type of guy that could develop into what I think is the best receiver in the world in 5 or 6 years. I think he's that good, he's that talented, and more importantly, he's got that type of work ethic, Gus.
So I'm out there practicing yesterday when we were at the Ohio State facility. All the players had left. He and Emeka Abuka were still on the field with the jugs gun, going over routes, going over the game plan. What a nice young man. First down and 10 at the 47. Here's Williams with a big hole. Williams first down and more. Seth Benson with the stop. Mayan Williams, with Henderson being banged up, has really gotten an opportunity to get some major burn for Coach Ryan Day.
And he's done a heck of a job. In fact, he's rushing it for almost 8 a pop. That leads the Big Ten. He's 3rd in college football in terms of his yards per carry, and that has really helped out this entire offense because of the injuries to Travion Henderson. They've still been able to run the football effectively.
First down and 10 at the Iowa 34. Play fake. Stroud looking over the middle. Caught. Julian Fleming found a soft spot. DeJean with the tackle.
Well, he's going to come up like he's blocking the safety, but then watch, after the play fake, he's just going to take off right through the middle of the field. There's the fake block, and then Fleming is right through the middle. Throw just behind him, but he's able to adjust and make the catch.
Gain of 26 yards. Ohio State in business. First down and goal at the Hawkeye 8. Trailing 7-3. Williams lines up as the pistol back. Behind C.J. Stroud. They'll give it to him. Trying to get outside. No. Great swarming defense cleaned up by Captain Jack Campbell.
I tell you what, that defensive line just blew it up. Noah Shannon was the first guy in there, and Campbell's going to get on the stat sheet, but the play was made by number 99, Noah Shannon, 6 foot, 290 pounds. He blew up that offensive line and was in the backfield immediately.
Second down and 12. Williams motions out of the backfield. Here's the underneath route. Caught by Abuka. And Abuka still running. He'll get down to the 2-yard line. Emeka Abuka gains 10 on 2nd and 12. Schulte and Campbell combining on the tackle.
Oh, now a huge down here. We've already seen Iowa force Ohio State into one field goal opportunity. And if they want to remain in this ball game, and if they want to fight against what can be an avalanche of points, these are the downs that are the biggest in the game, these potentials to force a field goal opportunity.
Third down and goal, 10th play of the drive right here from the 2.
They're going to call a new play, and I think he's just going to call for a timeout here.
Play clock winding down, 7-3 our score. 8:18 to go.
First of the half.
In the first quarter, Ohio State knocking on the door. First quarter, Ohio State, Iowa, herky-jerky game to start. Right now, Buckeyes, third down and goal at the 2. Mayan Williams in the backfield with C.J. Stroud. And they'll give it to him over the left side. Williams, touchdown, Bucks. Mayan Williams.
Well, that's some good physical play over there on that offensive line on the left side. And this is a team that is so good in the red zone. Ohio State first in the country converting red zone trips into touchdowns, and they're able to do so there.
Mayan Williams with his 9th rushing touchdown of the season as the Bucks go 10 plays, 75 yards, eating up 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Ruggles' extra point is good. 10-7. Let's take a look at Ohio State offensive line firing off the ball.
Well, first you're going to get an extra offensive lineman in as a tight end. That's Josh Fryer wearing 41. Then G. Scott 88 comes over, and then how about the fullback 34? That's Mitch Rossi, and he comes in and lays a great block right at the goal line and allows Mayan Williams to just run through an arm tackle, and he's in easily for a touchdown. Excellent execution by the left side of that offensive line and the extra offensive lineman Josh Fryer.
6 runs on that drive for Ohio State, and Donovan Jackson, the left guard, number 74 for the Bucks. Everybody's talking about this young man from Houston. He is 19 years old. They say he may be the best offensive lineman for Ohio State this year.
Well, he's young, but I think he's going to develop into that. And I got to tell you, they leaned on that run game, right? And that offensive line on that drive. It was a very herky-jerky start. You had the turnover, you gave him a defensive score, and then Ohio State went back to the ground game on that 10-play scoring drive.
Iowa's defense on the season ranking 24th overall against the run, averaging or allowing teams 111 yards rushing per game. Johnson from the goal line. Johnson down the sideline. Nice return. He'll get out of bounds around the 30. Petrus back on the field. His offensive coordinator, Brian Ferentz, the son of head coach Kurt Ferentz, has been criticized this season for the lack of offensive production.
And listen,
but remember, this is the same team that was playing in the Big Ten Championship a year ago.
They were, and remember, it's offense. There's levels of dependency, right? Like your quarterback and play caller can't do much if your offensive line's not playing great. And I think they've struggled a lot on the offensive line thus far.
On first down, Deshaun Williams looking for daylight. He'll pick up a yard, maybe a yard and a half on the play. Lathan Ransom, Zach Harrison combining on the tackle after a gain of 2.
But if you just look at this in these small windows of the game, what's important right now, this Ohio State defense are going to want to be aggressive and try to get the ball back as quickly as they can. Iowa knows that they've got to sustain a drive here, get a couple of first downs at a minimum, and hopefully go down and get some points, but certainly stay on the field here for 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes after that long drive from the Ohio State offense.
Second down and 8 at the 28. Petrus to Williams again. Deshaun Williams taken down by Jack Sawyer. 3-yard gain.
And now on third down, this is when, as a quarterback, you just got to step up and really make a nice throw. This pressure for Ohio State, they haven't done a great job getting sacks, but Gus, they're one of the best pressure teams in the country, getting close to the quarterback. We'll see if they can get home on Petrus here on a third down.
Gavin Williams checks in a running back for Iowa. 3rd and 5 at the 31. Petrus looking in trouble. Petrus goes down, lost it. Can Ohio State get it? Let's see. And the Bucks have the turnover. Zach Harrison with the hit in the backfield. And Ohio State comes out with the loose ball.
Well, they get a great pass rush from both Harrison and Jack Sawyer, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to dependency. These guys are in there way too quick from both sides, and Petrus doesn't have time to read it downfield and get the ball out. Look at that. He's out of there before he can release that ball, before anybody pops open on a 3rd and 5. This offensive line's got to protect better. They strip the ball out, though, and then the mad rush to get on it, and the Buckeyes are able to get their 2nd turnover of the game defensively.
3 turnovers already, and we're in the first quarter. Iowa with 2. Ohio State with 1. Brian Ferentz, so much that he can do with an offensive line that's failing to pass protect. First down and 10 at the 27. And a handoff goes to Williams, and he'll be tackled at the line of scrimmage. Seth Benson there.
One of the only things that this Ohio State defense hadn't really done during the course of this year, Gus, is get the sack numbers and then get the takeaway numbers. And so far early, we've seen both of those things show up. And the difference is now the offense has another short field, and they've got to pay it off.
Second down and 10 at the 27. Here's C.J. Stroud, underneath route caught, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And he coughed it up. Did he get it back? Iowa says they have it.
Kayvon Merriweather was in there early trying to get at that ball.
Looks like Ohio State will hold on.
Well, first you got to see is if it was out cleanly. Smith and Jigba, yes, definitely out. Ball is out, and you'll see Merriweather. He's fighting for it right away. But look at that, the strength of Smith and Jigba. You see that right hand? It was in there early, and you can tell he just ripped that back to his chest and then fought for it.
3rd down and 3 at the 20. And another timeout called by Ohio State. They've used 2 timeouts, and we have 5:23 remaining in the first quarter. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Road tested and game ready. Goodyear, more driven. 10-7. The score here at Ohio Stadium. Iowa's defense playing well. Let's see if they can figure out Got to somehow get off the field. 3rd down and 3 at the 20-yard line of Iowa for Ohio State. C.J. Stroud. Here comes a blitz. They'll pitch it to Williams, trying to get outside. He's bottled up. It'll be tackled for a loss. What a great job by this Iowa defense. Merriweather finally brings him down. And Ohio State has a decision to make on 4th down.
I love what Iowa did there defensively. Quinn Schulte, 30 and 26. Kayvon Merriweather, they were down low, and they both were basically run defenders only, playing what's called cover 0 man, no safety deep, and Ohio State was not ready for it. There's 30 Schulte and there's 26, and they're the unblocked players, and they're able to make a stop, and Ryan Day is furious with his offense and will have to settle for another field goal opportunity.
Noah Ruggles good from 46 yards. This one from 41 yards away. And he got it. 13-7. 4:30 to go in the first quarter. Kirk Ferentz, though, he'll take it. His defense with a nice stand to force Ohio State to kick a field goal. Their 2nd field goal inside the 20. Ruggles now 6 for 6 beyond 40 yards in his Ohio State career.
And remember, both of those field goals came after Ohio State got turnovers and had short fields. This is an offense with Stroud at quarterback. They had scored touchdowns on 32 of their last 41 drives. There's the first turnover. It was Tanner McAllister. Forced field goal. Good job defense. Here's the next turnover. Sack, fumble. Defense gives the offense a short field. Iowa forces a field goal. These are huge wins for Iowa's defense. Sitting here now at just 13-7. This could very easily, Gus, be a 21-7. Could be getting away from Iowa already. And by the way, that 7 was put on the board by the defense. So this defense, as advertised, I would say winning the battle so far against this potent Ohio State offense.
Ohio State with 1 touchdown on 4 drives today. 13-7. Caleb Johnson ready to return it. Jaden Fielding sends it away. Ball picked up at the 10-yard line. And it's Gavin Williams this time, and he'll get to the 21.
Well, this offense has got to figure it out, and it starts with the offensive line. Okay, so here's the problem. You're like, well, Joel, what do you do, right? If your offensive line is not developed enough to own the line of scrimmage and to run the ball, well, okay, you got to get it out on the outside quickly, right? Well, the problem is that the athletes that Ohio State have as defensive backs are quicker and faster than the athletes that Iowa has. Okay, well, you got to have the quarterback equal out the run numbers. Well, Petrus is not a running quarterback. So see, like, after you get to the point of like this offensive line needs some help with play calling and schematics, they don't really have anywhere else to go because of how they're built.
First down to the 26-yard line. Petrus handing it off. Johnson cuts it back, and a nice run. Iowa's O-line firing off the ball. That's a gain of 6. Petrus, 5 dropbacks, 2 turnovers, an interception, and a fumble.
I think Caleb Johnson is their best bet as a running back. He's just a freshman. He is a good-looking player. And if they're going to run the ball, it's that wide stretch play that you just saw to Caleb Johnson. That's where they're best.
2nd and 4 at the 32. Johnson again. This time he's stonewalled, going to pick up a yard.
And the reason they're better on that outside track, Gus, is because you don't have to push the line of scrimmage as an offensive line. You're just trying to cover up color. When you run interior, you've got to get movement on the defensive line in order to get up to the linebackers. So that's why they're better outside. But in this position right here at 3rd and short, this is when you've got to dial something up quickly to get the ball out of the hand of the quarterback and into your tight end's hand, Sam Laporta.
3rd down and 3 at the 33. And they'll reverse it. Fools nobody. Bruce dropped immediately. Zach Harrison. And that's a loss of 3 on 3rd down and 3.
I tell you, the recognition right here. I want you to watch Eichenberg. This guy understands what's going on. He's hopping over to that side before the ball is ever given to Arlen Bruce. He knows that Bruce is the jet sweep man. This is a guy that understands football, that understands preparing, and you can already see he had a third down where he broke up that tight end route, and there he's perfectly in position to make the stop.
Tory Taylor punting it away from the 15. Ibuka, the deep man for the Buckeyes. And he fakes it, runs it, and won't get it. Wow, great special teams coverage by Ohio State. Caden Curry, number 92, there defensively. Kirk Ferentz gambling. And this one blows up right in his face.
I don't think that this was called by Ferentz. Watch Tory Taylor. He's going to just kind of run. And now he goes because he thinks he can get it. But 92 Curry is right there. And he's going to get some help from Denzel Burke as well. And there's Lathan Ransom, number 12. Great job by Curry. He just stayed home, did his job, and then he got the help from Burke and Ransom. And Tory Taylor made the wrong decision and another short field for Ohio State.
First down. Deep in Iowa territory. Stroud pumping, goes through his progressions. Sideline. And it's a catch. Marvin Harrison again.
Tell you what, Stroud's got to get to about his third man in the progression, and Harrison runs a beautiful route, but watch his footwork on the sideline. This is beautiful. Gets in, basically gets two down, both toes in there. I tell you what, this guy is as good as they come in college football, and he's still young and still developing. I love watching him on tape. Runs clean routes, catches everything thrown at him. He's a wonderful player.
Tell you what, I had a chance to cover his dad, Marvin Harrison Sr., back during his days at Syracuse. Here's Stroud. Screenplay caught. Stover. Stover still running. Finally knocked out of bounds by Jack Campbell. But a flag on the play.
Legal formation. Offense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, that one on right tackle DeJuan Jones. I wonder if he was just lined up a little bit too far in the backfield. They were trying to get a bit of an odd set there in order to get that little, almost like a screen pass thrown to Stover. And speaking of unsung guys on this Ohio State team, Cade Stover is certainly one of those guys. Comes in at tight end. He's had a couple of nice games and really provides a lot of toughness in the run game for them. And Stover there, his nice catch and run is negated with that penalty.
First down and 15 at the 23. And Henderson with running room, tried to cut it back, slipped. Had some daylight in front of him, and he gains 9.
Great block by Donovan Jackson. That's the guy you were talking about, Gus. I think he's one of the best ones for a young player. Watch him get out in front, and then boom, great block on the corner. Excellent job. Get some help as well from Whippler, 53, and he opens up a nice lane for Travion Henderson. Just slips as he's trying to get back inside.
2nd and 6 at the 14. And Henderson slung down for a loss. Middle of that line doing a nice job. Logan Lee. First contact for the Hawkeyes.
Everything is hard against Iowa. That's just the best description. Ryan Day knows it. We talked about it yesterday. Everything is difficult. They're so fundamentally sound. They understand their structure and their philosophy, and Phil Parker does an outstanding job preparing them for the tendencies of the opponent. And you can see that come to fruition here. Everything is just difficult for this offense right now.
3rd down and 9 at the 17. Can the Hawkeyes force another field goal? Here's Stroud. Lobs it. Incomplete. No flag on the play. Smith and Jigba, the intended receiver. Cooper DeJean defensively. Buckeye fans do not like that call or non-call.
Well, here's the coverage, and DeJean He's locked up with Smith and Jigba, and there is some contact there, but that's the matchup that Iowa actually wants. Cooper DeJean is their best defensive back. He lines up on Smith and Jigba. They trust him, and there they get the incompletion. I certainly could have seen a flag come out there, but there was some hand fighting going on both sides. Ryan Day clearly not happy about it.
So the third field goal attempt for Ruggles. He came into this game 2 for 3. This one from 35 yards away. And he remains perfect. 16-7. And that was the last play of the first quarter. Buckeyes with the lead, but their offense stalling inside the red zone. Big Note Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Welcome back to Columbus. Ohio State settling for field goals. 16-7 our score. 3 field goals already for the Buckeyes as we start the second quarter. Caleb Johnson, the deep man, fielding. Getting a lot of action early for Ohio State. The kickoff specialist. This one into the end zone for a touchback. So let's take a look at the game summary.
Pacific Life game summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. And this game has been dominated really by the Iowa defense thus far. This is, there we go, we can get the numbers up there, but this is a defense that has held Ohio State to 3 field goals on 3 drives that started inside their own 35-yard line. They also scored the only points for Iowa. This Iowa offense right now, even though it's 16-7, it feels like a 4-possession game right now because this team has had no first downs on 4 series.
On first down, Petrus underneath caught. So for Iowa, 2 turnovers, a punt, a failed fake punt. 12 total yards prior to that play on 11 plays.
It's difficult, trust me, and everyone as an Iowa fan is thinking, well, here we go again. And yeah, there is a lot of that, but they've got to just continue to try to find something that will work.
2nd and 5. Stretch play here. Johnson gets down the sideline. Looks like he has a first down. Nicely designed play. Well executed play for Iowa. And that's gain of 8.
And that's where they're best. I told you in the last series, right, Gus? That stretch wide run play, that stretch wide zone. That was their best play offensively against Michigan. It's already been their best run play and play overall here against Ohio State.
First down for the Hawkeyes from the 38 now. Second man through. Johnson. Not a lot. Maybe a yard, possibly 2.
And what happens is that you got to get double teams all the way up to the linebacker when you run right downhill, Gus, and watch these double teams don't quite get there. And then who's there? Steel Chambers. So linebackers are making tackles because that O-line can't quite get up to the second level. When you're running outside, they don't need to do that because you're stretching out the defense, and then the back picks his hole and goes.
2nd and 9. Petrus underneath, no, sideline. That one thrown a tad bit high for Reganey. Reganey's really been coming on the last couple of games since he got healthy. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 9.
Well, this is where protection is an issue. And if you're Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, this is when you'd really love to get some pressure quickly on Spencer Petras. He was under duress against Illinois all game long. We'll see if they can get to him here on a long 3rd down.
3rd down, 9 at the 39. Petras with time, delivers, sideline incomplete, and a flag on the play. It's going to be pass interference against Tanner McAllister.
Well, we're trying for Luke Lachey. The officials are going to talk about it. There was certainly less contact on that play than there was in the end zone against Jackson Smith and Jigba. previous series. You know, if this goes against Ohio State.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 15. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
So here's McAllister, 15. Again, transfer from Oklahoma State, followed his defensive coordinator over here, and he's going to undercut Luke Lachey. But you see that hand just kind of pulled that hip back. That's what the back official sees, and that's why the flag comes out.
So Iowa finally in Ohio State territory for the first time. First down at the 46. And Williams corralled and dropped Tommy Eichenberg. That's a loss of 2, and they say so many good things about Tommy Eichenberg, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, he's been great, and his leadership won, Gus, and then his play on the field. You know, he comes into this week with 50 tackles already on the season, a couple of sacks, and there he just gets inside the block of the right tackle, Connor Colby, and he's in the backfield for a tackle for loss. His instincts are what I love so much. He diagnoses the play quickly, and then he flies around, makes quick decisions, and he's a good tackler.
Had 8 tackles against Michigan State. He leads this Buckeye team in tackles. 2nd and 12. Petrus, nice throw, first down. Sam Laporta, the tight end, will gain 17 yards, and they want to keep his hands full as much as possible in this game.
Well, he's their best player on the outside, and here Laporta is just going to run a quick slant right in front of J.K. Johnson, and he's able to get a little separation, and that was a very good throw from Spencer Petrus, and by far their best offensive series of the game so far.
First down at the 31. Johnson trying to get downhill. And he does. Caleb Johnson stopped by Lathan Ransom on that play, a 3-yard gain.
And what they can do now, Gus, that they've got just a little rhythm established with that run game, is that they can start to play action, they can start to run action pass. Run action means you get full flow and get the quarterback outside the pocket, and then he can dump it into the flat on an easy completion. Those are the plays that Iowa desperately needs.
2nd and 7 to the 28. Johnson again, and he'll be tackled for yard loss, maybe a 2-yard loss. Ohio State ready for that play, and that'll bring up 3rd down and long at the Ohio State 30.
Well, you got to figure out where Sam Laporta is. We've seen now a couple of times Iowa is going to target their best skilled position player, number 84. So this defense, they're going to have to make a decision. Who are you going to cover him with, and are you going to double cover him? Because that's clearly where the ball is wanting to go. Sam Laporta, 17 targets coming into the game on 3rd downs.
Laporta, 9 catches for 100 yards last week against Illinois. 3rd down and 9. Here's Petrus. Sets up Laporta, and nothing. Actually a loss. Laporta stopped by Denzel Burke. Interesting call there by Brian Ferentz.
Yeah, I think that call is born out of a lack of really belief that they can protect the passer, right? So he's thinking to himself, all right, it's 3rd and obvious, 3rd and long, 7+. How do I get the ball out of my quarterback's hands as quickly as I can? So he tries to just dump it immediately and see if they can maybe get a block and get a run down the field, and now a long field goal attempt.
Drew Stevens in to attempt a 49-yarder. And it's good. Drew Stevens with a 49-yard field goal, 16-10. Ohio State, but Kirk Ferentz's Hawkeyes fighting. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. And by Edward Jones. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. Ohio State and the National Football Foundation honored 2022 College Football Hall of Fame electee Mike Doss with a Hall of Fame on-campus salute. Today, Doss was a member of Ohio State's 2002 BCS National Championship team, intercepting Ken Dorsey to give the Buckeyes the lead and the title. Still in great shape, too, you can tell. Mike Doss. Iowa 10 plays, 44 yards. They scored in 4 minutes and 53 seconds on the 49-yard field goal by Drew Stevens. This one in the end zone for a touchback.
Let's go above and beyond. Sponsored by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. And this defense so far, even though they're down, has been a sub above, right? Jack Campbell, he's the leader of this group. 63 tackles so far this year. That leads the Big Ten. Last year he was a first team All Big Ten selection. He led college football. And he was a preseason All-American. He's going to have to play great against that run game and try to slow it down so that the defensive backs can focus on getting their hands on these wide receivers and slowing them down off the line of scrimmage. That's why Jack Campbell's job today is so important. Jack Campbell, big guy, folks, 6'5".
Playing middle linebacker. First down at the 25. C.J. Stroud checks it down, and he has his man, Travion Henderson. He'll step out of bounds. He'll gain about 4.
I tell you, he had a chance to go down the field, and this is what happens. You know, Iowa baits you into just being conservative. Marvin Harrison was wide open down the middle of the field there.
Second down and 6. Stroud again to throw it. Looking to the sideline. He's got his man. This time it's Ibuka and Emeka with a first down in front of Dajin.
I love the way that they complete those field. All right, when I say field, that means the far side, far hash, outside the numbers, these field comeback routes, because the wide receiver always just continues to move back towards the ball. He never stops and allows that defensive back to undercut it or bat it down.
Stroud started 0 for 2 with a strip sack. He's 8 for 9 since. First down. Henderson. Runs into a pile. Campbell, tip of the spear, and it's a 6-yard gain.
And this is that time of, or I should say, the space on the field. When Ryan Day gets into these second and shorts inside the 40s, I always think to myself, boy, he loves to be aggressive here. And you've got to think that he's going to try to take a shot at some point, get one of these wide receivers running free down the middle of the field.
Second down, 5 at the 47. C.J. Stroud sets, sideline, incomplete. Njigba, the target, and he looks a little gimpy. Remember, he's been missing a lot of time with the hamstring injury. Told me before the game there was no pain, but he's going to stay on the sideline right now. He may have tweaked it.
Well, his head is down on the sideline, and now he's walking back a little bit. You can tell he's a bit dejected. We'll hope he's okay, obviously, because he's tried to do this once before, came back to week 3 and tried to play and tweaked it again. So we'll see where he goes.
3rd and 5. Ohio State 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. C.J. Stroud under pressure, gets it off. High and incomplete. Iowa bringing some heat. And that'll bring up 4th down, and the Buckeyes forced to punt. We told you, the story underneath the story for this game was the #1 offense in the country in Ohio State against this tough, talented, top defense of Iowa.
What they do is they get their hands on the wide receivers. There's nowhere to throw the ball quickly. They were bringing pressure. Stroud was feeling the pressure in the pocket. He's trying to get the ball out quickly to Ibuka, but there's no space because the coverage is so tight.
First punt for Ohio State in this game. Mirko. End over end kick. Arlen Bruce, the deep man. Lets it take a bounce. And it'll die inside the Iowa 5. Well done by Jesse Mirko. A 50-yard punt. Interesting game going on so far. Ohio State, Iowa. Back after this. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem. Last time these two teams met is a game Buckeyes fans would love to forget. Ohio State rolled into Iowa City, ranked 6th in the country, and unranked Iowa put up 55, a double nickel on them, as Kirk Ferentz won the game. Urban Meyer, head coach of the Buckeyes at that time. First down and 10 at the 2 for Iowa. Monty Pottebaum, LaShawn Williams in the backfield, out of the I formation. And a flag on the play.
I think they got started early there on offense.
False start. Offense, number 56. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's Nick DeYoung, the left guard. You can see clearly up and out of his stance before that ball was snapped.
First down and 11 at the 1. Quick handoff. As Petrus, rather, with the quarterback's knee, trying to give him some room. Gains a yard. Petrus, a big guy, 6'5", 230.
They're familiar with this. I mean, they were backed up several times like this inside their own 5-yard line against Illinois, and they used that quarterback sneak several times just to try to give themselves some breathing room. And now out to the 2, you feel like you may have a little of that to try to get back to potentially that run game. Try to get out to the 5 at least.
Second down and 10 to the 2-yard line. Here's a handoff for Iowa, and it's LaShawn Williams. No gain on the play. That'll bring up third down and long. Ransom, Harrison on the tackle for the Bucks.
Well, this is all about the punt upcoming. Okay, now, yeah, you'd love to get a first down, but this is more about trying to create some space for your punt team to get that ball off. You don't want that punter to have his heels right at the back of the goal line here, so they've got to gain some positive yardage so that they don't have that really awkward, tight punting situation on their next snap.
They're first of the half.
So Iowa calling the timeout. Back after this.
Welcome back to Columbus, where the Hawkeyes are backed up and down 6. Rob, so with you, coming up on the State Farm halftime, we'll show you DJU's early struggles in that unbeaten ACC showdown. Would Tennessee have any bit of a letdown after that huge win against Alabama? And we'll check in on ranked Cincinnati guys as they go for their 6th straight win.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. As you mentioned, Iowa backed up, faced with a third down and 9, trying to create some run, potentially for a punt. Petrus. Out of his own end zone, Petrus. And that one deflected and batted down at the line of scrimmage. And Iowa will be forced to punt deep in their own territory.
Well, when you don't gain any yardage, like I was saying before the break, great job by Zach Harrison, by the way, getting that hand up, batting that ball down. Well, now you got a tight punting situation, and this is almost assured to give Ohio State at least the ball on the plus side of the 50 for their offense once again, and the ability for a nice return.
Torrey Taylor, one of the best in the country, back of his own end zone, drives his football. Caught inside the 50. Abuka with a nice move after the catch, and he'll get close to the Iowa 30-yard line. Gus Johnson along with Joel Klatt, and we talked about this defense versus offense.
Yeah.
It's the Iowa defense versus the Ohio State offense. It's been a great battle so far.
It really has, and I've been impressed with Iowa. I know that they don't have the lead in this game, but their defense has been really good so far. This is going to be the 4th series that Ohio State starts with the ball inside the 35-yard line. On the other 3, they forced 3 field goals, so we'll see what they can do in this series upcoming. But this defense has been outstanding so far, Gus, and I'm actually more impressed with what they're doing today than what they did earlier in the year against Michigan.
First down and 10 of the 32. And it's Mayan Williams. Jack Campbell hops on him after a 3-yard gain.
You know, the series where we saw Ohio State actually drive the ball, 10-play series, and put it in the end zone, what they rely on? The run game.
That's right.
And I want to see if Ohio State has the patience to line up and let that offensive line get going with the run game. I know it. Listen, it's got to be enticing to try to throw the ball around with these wide receivers and this quarterback, but let the run game get going a little bit here.
2nd down and 7 at the 29. Stroud to throw it underneath, and that's a reception made this time by Cade Stover. Seth Benson brings him to the turf. We've been talking about this Iowa defense against the run. Ohio State has 4 straight games rushing for more than 230 yards. Today, only 27 yards rushing.
Yeah, and part of that is that they just haven't gotten any rhythm in their offense yet. And on 3rd down, this is what you're seeing from Iowa. They send one safety back, like you're seeing in the middle of the field like this, and then all the tight coverage up against the wide receiver.
On 3rd down and 2, and they will not get it. Mayan Williams trying to crash forward. Jay Higgins gets to him first. No gain on the play. So that's another 4th down coming up.
And what you're seeing from this Hawkeye defense is everybody up at the line of scrimmage and crashing in from the edge. And Ohio State will stay on the field and go for it on 4th down.
4th down and 2 at the 24. Williams remains in the game as the pistol back for the Buckeyes. Stroud sprints out of the pocket, throws on the run, has his receiver. 1st down, Emeka Egbuka.
That is so difficult to do as a quarterback. A straight sprint out to your left as a right-hander, and then he puts it right on the money to Egbuka. Too much space there for Egbuka to operate, and that ball was thrown absolutely perfectly. That's really difficult to do. Anybody that's ever played the position knows that rolling to your left is hard anytime, but especially on that quick sprint out.
13-yard gain, 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Williams. And he'll get inside the 10 for a gain of 3. Clock winding down, 4:10 to go in the 1st half. Jay Higgins again with the stop for Iowa. Kirk Ferentz's team right in this game. They'd love to do nothing more than turn away Ohio State once again and make them settle for a field goal. 2nd and 7 at the 8. Jackson Smith-Njigba not in the lineup. Play fake. Here's Stroud trying to throw it out wide to Harrison. Incomplete. Looks like their timing was a tad bit off.
Yeah, that one was just too far in front of Harrison Jr. As you can see, he's trying to come out of his break, and Stroud just missed him. And now a much longer yardage situation. And this is where Phil Parker really excels, is these 3rd and obvious type of situations inside the 10 in particular. And he loves Gus to run those stunts up front, trying to get a free rusher in the face of the quarterback.
Ohio State 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. 3rd and 7 at the 8. Here comes a blitz. Stroud in trouble, lets it go, and incomplete. No flag on the play. Harrison, the intended target. Good coverage by Riley Moss. And once again, Ohio State forced to attempt a field goal.
Well, here you get the blitz from the outside. They rushed 6. Ohio State only had 5 end blocking, so you're relying on that man coverage. And this ball was just woefully underthrown. And again, Ohio State settling for a field goal and a free rusher in C.J. Stroud's face. That was Quinn Schulte.
So Noah Ruggles has been good from 46, 41, and 35 yards. This one is from 26 yards away. And it's good. 19-10. Buckeyes with the lead, but some questions now inside the red zone. Ohio State having trouble. Ohio State with the lead. Iowa defense playing hard.
I've never in my career done a game where a team is up 9 in the 2nd quarter, 19-10, and I feel like all the positive stuff is on the other side, right? Like I'm struggling at trying to describe what's going on because the Iowa defense, I feel like, is playing so well.
And a touchback. No, they're going to run it out. Caleb Johnson. And he'll be grabbed at the 12. Brought down immediately. Next on Fox, It's a battle in the Pac-12 as DTR leads the undefeated 9th-ranked Bruins against Bo Nix and 10th-ranked Oregon. Action kicks off next on Fox. Who do you like in this game?
Well, I kind of like UCLA, and how about a bit of a homecoming? You know, Chip going back to Oregon, and he's just been building something really good at UCLA. They've gotten better as far as winning percentage every single year, and I know that Vegas doesn't build those buildings on accident. And I know Oregon's favored, and they're good at home, but something tells me this Bruins team is going to get it done.
First down and 10 at the 13. Petrus delivers. Intercepted again. Ohio State's Eichenberg, touchdown, Buckeyes. Tommy Eichenberg with the pick 6. And Ohio State goes up 25-10.
Well, I got no idea what Petrus is looking at. It almost is like he expects a totally different route, but it's just a check down from his back. You're going to see the back come out number 4, and it's almost like he's just throwing. I don't know where he's looking, what he's throwing to, who he's throwing. There's nobody behind him. Eichenberg is there, perfect position, and he's able to pick that off and get into the end zone. And this Ohio State defense, at least for the Buckeyes, has been playing pretty well today.
Second pick of the day for the Ohio State defense. This time, Eichenberg. Ruggles, extra point, good. Second career interception for Tommy Eichenberg. And the coaches were glowing about this young man in our meetings yesterday.
The leadership, the effort, what he's been able to do. And remember, this was a defense and a linebacker core and a front seven that was heavily criticized and under the microscope after last season when they gave up 297 yards to Michigan in that loss. And they bring in the new defensive coordinator. They change philosophies, and they've been playing so much better. There's Jim Knowles in his first year now as a coordinator for the Buckeyes. And it's a defense that they understand. They're playing very fast. It's vastly improved. Gus, I thought they just needed to be decent or good on defense. They're borderline a great defense this year. Top 10 in scoring and total defense, rushing and passing defense, yards per play. They've been outstanding.
Tell you what, Jim Knowles has displayed during his career that he is what you call a fixer.
And he's certainly fixed the Buckeyes, it looks like, so far in his first year. Yeah, and so far, because it really doesn't matter today. It only matters later in November, if you know what I mean.
Let's check in with JT.
Well, in talking to JT Tuimoloau yesterday and just what worked so well with Coach Knowles, he talked about just how willing he is to adapt to them. In meetings, they're short and quick. Meetings don't last really more than 45 minutes. They listen to music. The music is really what the guys want to listen to. And he said he understands what we like, and it was an immediate buy-in. These guys understood that last year defensively they were not good enough. So it was very easy. And Coach Knowles said, look, these guys want to get better. They came to work, and it happened truly overnight, the buy-in.
We need to get Coach Knowles to talk to our producer, Chuck McDonald, to cut down on some of our meeting time. You know,
I'm too long. I need to get some tips from Jim Knowles, don't I?
Yes, you definitely do. Here's reception by Bruce.
All right, next week I'm playing music.
That's right.
What do you want, a 12-minute cap or 15?
Well, I just want some Meek Mills in about 8 minutes. How about that?
All right. Man, 8 minutes.
8 minutes. That's a long time. But your lectures during the regular season, during our meetings, Joel, have been wonderful. Thank you very much.
I love how you use the term lectures.
That's right. Makes it easy for us. 2nd and 3 at the 32.
I think you're just used to hearing lectures from your time at Harvard.
Yeah, this far. Yeah, I've heard a couple of them up there this year. Here's Petrus underneath again. Dangerous play. Luke Lachey. Big game. Oh, big return for Luke Lachey, and we'll have Jenny tell that story when we get a chance. But his father is the great Jim Lachey, Ohio State legend, and we'll hold off a bit and let JT tell you what it means for him to be back here in Columbus. 1st and 10 at the 38. 2:21 to go. First half. 26-10. Petrus hit as he throws. It's complete. Laporta out of bounds. Let's go downstairs to Jenny Tech.
Well, Gus, it is such a special story, so thanks for letting me share it, because Luke Lachey, he's got Buckeye blood, but he found a home at Iowa. And you mentioned Dad Jim, obviously the voice of the broadcast here. People have known him for 2 decades, and Mom went here, sisters went here, everyone bleeds Buckeye. And, you know, they mentioned they have over 100 friends and family here to support him. And then get this, his godparents purchased a brick engraved outside the stadium, said, "For our godson, Luke Lachey, go Bucks." They covered that brick up today, because not today, guys. This is about
right.
Iowa for Luke.
I love it. That's great.
First down and 10 at the 47. And that one thrown a little bit high. The only problem is the coach that was here when Lachey could have been a Buckeye didn't give him a scholarship. This guy. You know?
Oh, my gosh.
This guy. Always doing something, Irvin. You could have given the kid a scholarship.
I actually saw Jim Lachey in the elevator coming up today, and I said to him, I was like, hey, this has to be a special day. He looks me dead in the eyes, and he says, you have no idea. Luke's been catching passes at the tailgate out here all his life. He's dreamed of playing in the shoe, and now he gets to do it today. What a moment for the Lachey family.
Second down and 10 at the 47. Here's Petrus. Steps up, slides. Petrus wants to run. Petrus dragged down from behind. Great job, Javante Jean-Baptiste. A loss of 3.
Well, we are seeing this defense now get to the things that they've needed to get to, which is getting to the quarterback and creating turnovers. Those are the 2 areas that they needed to improve coming into today's ball game. Now, again, I'll be the first one to say it's hard to know, like, hey, does that mean they're getting a lot better? I don't know, because of Iowa's offense, and Iowa's offense is struggling mightily. That being said, they are getting the job done, getting to Petrus and getting their hands on the football.
Third down, 13 at the 49. Petrus with time delivers to the sideline, high and incomplete. Arlen Bruce, his target in front of J.K. Johnson.
Good coverage by Johnson on the outside, and that's a position, Gus, that I would say is a question mark for Ohio State still. You know, Cameron Brown is out today, one of their corners, so Denzel Burke, J.K. Johnson are going to get the call. Jair Brown will get some time, number 18. I think that's the part of this team that down the stretch we're going to need to learn about this Buckeye secondary, and if they can hold up against a passing game that can get it done.
Torrey Taylor punting it away from his own 35. Abuka, the deep man. Abuka comes up and has it at the 22. 29-yard punt. At the half, Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Coach Meyer are standing by with the State Farm halftime show right here from Ohio Stadium.
Do you think he knows that you threw him out there like that, right under the bus?
He probably doesn't know, but he expects it.
That's true. That is true. Oh, man. Well, this is really, you know, I know they're up 26-10, but as far as the rhythm and everything, this is really the first time that Ohio State has faced adversity. Going back to maybe you would say the first half of Week 1 against Notre Dame. They certainly played better in the second half of that Week 1 matchup against Notre Dame. We'll see if they can get things corrected here at halftime, because this has not been the same offense or the offense that we expected. But a lot of that has to do, Gus, to the great play of the Iowa defense. Even down 16, that defense I'm even more impressed with than when I came into this ballgame.
Ohio State settles for 4 field goals in the first half. They'll head into the locker room with the lead. Don't forget, after the break, join Rob Stone and the guys with the State Farm halftime show right here from the Shoe. 26-10.
Your heart is in danger. Come close now, let me tell you a lie. Wild child, you got me running through the turnstile. Baby girl, we better make it work.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Welcome back to Columbus. We're ready to start the second half. Buckeyes with a 26-10 lead over Iowa. Gus Johnson along with Joel Klatt. Noah Ruggles, the place kicker for Ohio State, came into this game 2 of 3 on the season. He's kicked 4 field goals in the first half. So this Iowa defense has shown Ohio State some looks that it's taken some time to make some adjustments.
Yeah, and you know, for a guy like Ruggles, he's probably needing oxygen in the locker room or something for what he's used to, because he's had to work so much. Let's take a look at our second half connection, brought to you by AT&T Business. AT&T 5G, fast, reliable, and secure. This was the first touchdown, and the only drive that Ohio State was really able to establish the run, and then they punched it in the end zone with the run. Nice blocking on that left side. But the first half was really about the defenses. Ohio State did a great job. Now, granted, against a unit that's really been struggling, but they did get the 13 takeaways, 13 points off of those takeaways. And the Iowa defense, I get it, they're down, it's 26-10, but this defense has been sensational. Put up the only offensive touchdown that Iowa has so far today. And this is a group that has flown around, been good on third down, and in 4 red zone trips, they've forced Ohio State into 4 field goals. They've been outstanding.
So Ohio State will get the ball to start the second half. Now, Ohio State's offense, #1 scoring offense, #2 total offense, #15 passing offense, and the 15th rushing offense. What has this Iowa defense done to slow the Buckeyes down?
I think first and foremost is that they've been winning at the line of scrimmage, and Ohio State has not been able to just sit there and run the ball at will like they have in previous games. And then the other thing, and I think this is most important, Gus, is that they're getting their hands on the wide receivers.
Let's go down to Jenny.
Well, in talking to Coach Ferentz, he said the issue with their offense has been self-inflicted wounds. He said we started out with really poor protection. We've settled a bit, but of course that defense has been the highlight. You guys know it. He said the only way we stay in this thing if our defense stays at this level. I caught up with Coach Day. He told me he's very optimistic about the way his defense is playing, and in terms of that red zone offense, it has to be better. One thing to keep an eye on, I asked for an update about receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. We know it was a big deal that he came back today. I've been told that there is no specific injury to report, but it is doubtful we'll see him in the second half.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. First down and 10 to 25. Let's continue to go into this deep dive. Ohio State's offense versus Iowa's defense. Stroud frees himself, throws, Captain Jack with the interception. Jack Campbell, one of the best in the Big Ten, plucks it out of the air. Ohio State turns it over again, and Iowa has great field position. Ironically, first play of the game, an interception by Iowa. First play of the second half, an interception by Ohio State.
Well, this is a beautiful job by Jack Campbell. First of all, look at his eyes, okay? When you got zone defense, eyes are always on the quarterback. Safety's eyes on the quarterback. Linebacker's eyes on the quarterback. That's what makes it difficult to throw the ball down inside of those seams, is that they can react. And then it's just the athleticism. What a great job. And did he corral that one? Went up one-handed. It looks like he was able to get it down, and C.J. Stroud knows he forced one over the middle of the field. And when that happens, Iowa capitalizes.
First down and 10 at the 44 for the Hawkeyes. Alex Padilla comes in at quarterback. He fumbles the snap. Holy cow. And Ohio State gets it right back.
So Iowa made the change at quarterback at halftime, and Alex Padilla comes in and promptly fumbles the snap. At this point, Gus, I just want the two defenses to go out there and play against each other, because my goodness, the offenses can't do anything. Padilla just doesn't get the ball. Ohio State capitalizes, gets another turnover, and sets up their offense with another shorter field, this one close to midfield, and that face says it all. Yikes.
A comedy of errors in Columbus. Padilla comes into the game, gets his chance, and fumbles the snap the first time he touches the ball.
Can we have the defenses play against each other?
I don't know,
just like
man.
for a series, right?
You know people. Maybe you can get them to draw something up. And here's the reverse. Ibuka. And Emeka Ibuka. We had a chance to talk to him yesterday, folks. What a pleasant young man. His father, Nigerian, international engineer. Emeka used to live in Germany, speaks a little German. Very refreshing, fresh face to have a chance to spend time.
And a wonderful talent. And this is a guy that, you know, between he and Marvin Harrison, they're filling some gigantic shoes. Remember, Ohio State had 2 guys as we look. Iowa jumps off, another error here. 2 guys drafted in the first round.
Really 3 if you want to think about it.
Well, they're missing 3 from last year because Jackson Smith-Njigba has just not been healthy this year. 2 of them, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, selected in the first round.
Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Gus, what I think has been so remarkable is that Harrison and Ibuka, these 2 guys have been able to match and actually through 6 games exceed the production of Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. 66 catches, over 1,000 yards between them. They've been fantastic.
2nd down and 1 at the 46. Javion Henderson in the backfield. Henderson trying to get outside, and he swarms Seth Benson. A loss of 4. I tell you what, this Iowa defense is quick.
So Benson's the backside linebacker. Watch how quickly he diagnoses this play and gets after it. So the center is trying to get up there, and he just can't at that point. Actually, that was Matt Jones, 55, the guard. He just can't get up to the 2nd level. And there's Benson in the backfield, and both offenses going backwards today.
A loss of 4, 3rd and 5. Stroud, 5 receivers set. Stroud looking. Stroud in trouble, and Stroud taken down. Lucas Van Ness. Great coverage in the secondary by Iowa. That's a loss of 1.
Well, they're going to get away with a lot of contact here. Watch Benson. Stroud wants to throw it to the tight end, Cade Stover, right here. Watch Benson kind of grabs him and then makes it hard for him to get out of his break. And right there, besides throwing it and forcing it, Stroud tries to run, and then he is contacted, and it's Lucas Van Ness with the tackle and a punt.
C.J. Stroud, great pocket passer, not a mobile quarterback. Mirko with Bruce back deep. They're caught at the 5. 26-10 the score. Padilla back on the field, and see if he can get a clean snap and get the Hawkeyes moving on offense. 6-10, Ohio State on top of Iowa. Ohio State leading the game, but are you surprised with how this game is turning out?
Well, I thought Ohio State's offense was certainly going to play better than this, and that's why we got to give all the credit in the world to this Iowa defense. Now, on the flip side, we've seen now twice this year this Ohio State offense struggle. Notre Dame in week 1 and now today against Iowa. The difference between this team and years previous is that the defense is standing tall and still providing them the ball.
And here's the run for Johnson. And there's one thing for sure. There's a team up north in Michigan paying special attention to what's going on today here in Columbus.
Well, it's interesting. Last week, Ohio State was sitting at home. They had the idle week. And, Michigan went out there and put on, let's face it, that was a clinic. Over 400 yards rushing on Penn State in the top 10 matchup. And that game wasn't even as close as the score would have indicated, 41-17. Now, Michigan's sitting at home and watching this Ohio State team. And Ohio State has come out and they've played really poorly on the offensive side, but the defense is playing well.
Here's Padilla, and intercepted again. 2nd interception of the game for Tanner McAllister, the Oklahoma State transfer. If there's one thing to be happy about, if you're a Buckeye fan, this defense looks strong today under Jim Knowles, their first year defensive coordinator who came over from Oklahoma State.
Padilla's trying to get it again. They're trying to hit and target these tight ends. That one was just thrown in front of him. But what I love about this Ohio State team this year is that they know where to be. And watches McAllister understands his zone, and he understands the routes coming to him, so he falls off the outside route, and he's right there for the tip pass. That's very Iowa-esque if you really think about it. Tips and overthrows, they should always be picked off. And today, Ohio State has been there and gotten their ball back for their offense time after time. This defense has done an outstanding job.
1st down and 10 for the Buckeyes at the Iowa 15. Stroud swings it out wide. Ibuka. And he'll gain 3.5, maybe 4. Knocked out by DeJean.
This defense, you know, what makes it so difficult? Well, they maintain their levels of defense, and as I've shown you, their eyes are constantly in the backfield, so it's very difficult to put them in conflict, right, and create separation because of man coverage. It's very difficult to get the safeties out of position. And then here's the best part. They run in pursuit of the football as well as any defense in college football. And when they get there, they tackle as a unit. And they do all of those things impeccably well.
2nd down and 6 at the 11. And Ohio State burns another timeout. Wow. They used timeouts early in the first half. Now early timeout here in second half. Some disorganization going on here in Columbus. Here's a question. When was the last time you saw a game with 36 total points and just 1 offensive touchdown?
It's been a while, right? My goodness. Red zone offense for Ohio State hasn't shown up. They came in best in college football in the red zone, converting those trips into touchdowns. Today, only 1 touchdown in those red zone trips.
2nd down and 6 at the 11-yard line for Ohio State. Here's a handoff. Williams will push the pile forward.
Good second effort by Williams, and that presents a lot more manageable now 3rd down challenge for this Ohio State team. But again, you know, every time you get to this point, you think to yourself, okay, what's Iowa going to do here? And on these 3rd downs, even in short yardage, they are being aggressive, Gus. They're putting their corners out on an island in man coverage, and they're committing all of their resources to the run game.
3rd down and 2 at the 7. Williams doesn't look like he has it.
I don't think he got there.
Not even close. Needed 2 yards. Got about a half yard, maybe a yard. Jay Higgins plugs up the hole. And that'll bring up, let's see, 4th down.
Good job by that defense. And again, they're playing just straight man coverage and allowing everybody else to stop the run. It's the same defense here.
They're going for it. 4th down and 1.
Got man coverage there, and there.
So what does that mean?
Well, you would think that you're going to get some sort of pick route, something like that, and maybe even a slant up top.
Stroud sprinting out, looking, throws. Caught, touchdown, Marvin Harrison. Finally. Marvin Harrison, 10th receiving touchdown of the year.
Well, they're going to do this sprint out again to the left, but watch the route by Harrison. He's going to push himself all the way inside, and then he goes outside, never stops, and keeps those feet in bounds. Terrific body control there, and a really nice route from Marvin Harrison Jr.
And some great ball placement by C.J. Stroud.
And again, rolling to his left, which is always difficult.
So Marvin Harrison Jr., the son of the great, legendary Marvin Harrison. And it's funny, if you put them together, I think Marv Jr. is a lot taller, but they run exactly the same way.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a lot bigger than his dad, but they certainly move similarly. They're going to take a closer look at this and see if he actually did get into the end zone. There's a foot down, then he contacts the pylon. At that point, with a foot down and then contacting the pylon, he should get the goal line extended, but it's hard to tell where that ball is in relation to the goal line at that moment.
Unfortunately, Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have on his Louis Vuitton cleats today.
That's a great look right there. That's beautiful camera work, and it looked like that ball was possessed, foot down, with the ball across the plane of the goal line for a touchdown.
And to further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Chip off the old block. I remember calling, as I mentioned earlier in the first half, Marvin Harrison's games when he was a college player at Syracuse. He had guys on that team like Donovan, McNabb to Bucky Jones, Donovan Darius. Paul Pasqualoni was the head coach back then. That's when Syracuse really had it rolling. Similar to how Dino Babers has the Syracuse team playing right now. They're leading Clemson. The Orange back on the move. But here in Columbus, Buckeyes forcing turnovers. Starting to figure out this Iowa defense. Ohio State leading big here in Columbus. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. This is the program from 50 years ago when Iowa came to Columbus in 1972. Ohio State won the game 21-0. Jesse Owens and Jack Nicklaus were in the program. Right now, Ohio State with a 33-10 lead. Been an interesting game, a great game to watch if you're predicting what could happen in the future, just to see Ohio State have to really figure out a tough defense, knowing that Michigan and Ohio State are on a collision course, potentially. Buckeyes send it away. Johnson from the goal line. With the lane, and Caleb Johnson crosses the 30 and gets up to the 34-yard line, a 32-yard return. Last night, Phillies hung on to go up 2-1 in the NLCS, and tonight they'll look to extend their lead while Manny Machado and the Padres try to even up the series. Game 4 of the NLCS starts tonight at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Just take a look at the slugger comparison. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado.
Rice has been good in that series, and man, I tell you what, that crowd of Philly has been it's been so good. It's been electric.
First down and 10 of the 35. Williams with a hole, and he'll crawl forward and get to the 38, a 4-yard gain. Lathan Ransom defensively. Today's game was featured on the free-to-play Fox Bet Super 6 Predictor app. One of the questions in today's Big Noon contest was, which team will have the most tackles and how many will they have? Second and 6.
Now it's Padilla at quarterback, and they've had 2 turnovers, and he had 3 snaps coming into this series. So they've got to settle him down and try to get some positivity going.
Williams on the give. Not much. Maybe 2. Tyreek Williams with the tackle. Let's take a look at Padilla's numbers on the season.
He's below 50% throwing the football. Has a couple of interceptions, a couple of touchdowns, but that's in his career. Padilla does give you a little bit more as far as mobility goes, and so like this on a third and medium or short-ish, Gus in particular, with his ability to do that, hurt you with his legs. I like his thought of getting him outside the pocket, potentially away from this rush.
Third down and 4. Padilla lines up, and he connects with Laporta. And Laporta will pick up the first down. Sam Laporta, he returned for his senior year to finish the business degree that he started. And because he has a chip on his shoulder, having made all Big Ten third team last year, despite having the most yards among tight ends, he said, I had the most yards. Why was I third team? He said, I came back to be the best tight end in the Big Ten Conference.
Well, that was a great route there, and on a third down, they needed it. Provides some space for his quarterback, and Padilla makes the best throw of the day so far.
First down at midfield for Iowa. Padilla in trouble. Padilla sacked. No, he got it away. Steel Chambers with the pressure. Almost came up with the sack. Padilla wisely got rid of it.
Well, when you got 2 guys blocking one, and then you just get a free rusher coming right down the barrel at your quarterback, someone made a giant mistake. The running back there, LaShawn Williams, was trying to work back to it, but far too often in this passing game for Iowa, you've got those free rushers in the face of the quarterback, and Padilla barely gets that one off and saves some yardage.
Really like what Jim Knowles has been doing as the defensive coordinator in his first year with this Ohio State defense. They look different. 2nd and 10 at midfield. Padilla underneath, and that ball incomplete. Luke Lachey, the intended receiver.
You know, Gus, I think that the challenge for this Ohio State defense now, it's 33-10. This offense has not scored a touchdown on their last 23 possessions. Didn't score an offensive touchdown against Illinois, haven't today. And so the challenge for Jim Knowles in this defense is to hold an internal standard. Can you play to a standard that is high because you want to, not because the offense is requiring you to? And that's the Buckeyes' challenge here in the second half.
3rd down and 10 at midfield. Here's Padilla in trouble, rolls out, looking. Padilla, and it's caught by Laporta. Not enough for the first down.
Well, there's again another aggressive play call on the defensive side, trying to loop the tackle all the way around. Tyleik Williams did get himself free in the backfield, but Padilla was able to get loose, and they'll stay on the field here on 4th down. You know, Gus, it's been Laporta in a big situation, right? I mean, every single time that they need something, whether it's a 3rd down, they try to get him into a stack or a tight formation and try to get him loose a little bit. He'll be at the top of your screen.
4th down and 4 at the Ohio State 45 for the Hawkeyes. Padilla sprints out, tries a turn, throws on the move, and incomplete. Iowa will turn it over on downs. Brody Breck, the intended receiver. That ball thrown high. 33-10. Here come the Bucks on O after this. (33-10) our score. Ohio State on top of Iowa with 6:37 to go. Alex Padilla coming in the game for Spencer Petras. Nothing working offensively for Iowa.
On this side, Ohio State again, great field position. 6th drive of the day, where Ohio State will start at least at their own 45-yard line.
1st down and 10 of the 45. Stroud, and a whistle.
Penalty marker before the snap. False start. Offense, number 4. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Fleming.
Very little rhythm on this side of the ball for Ohio State. You see Fleming just get a little bit of a head start on the outside. Real lack of execution today for Ohio State, and that's normally just not the case. This offense, you know, ever since Ryan Day really got here to Columbus, has been the best offense in college football. Today, 148 total yards. Think about this, in the first half alone against Michigan State, they had 429 total yards.
Out wide, Harrison. And Merriweather there to sling him out of bounds.
Gus, have you noticed you can never run more than 2 or 3 yards without someone being there for Iowa? They are structurally so sound. There's never free lanes. It's hard to move the ball against Iowa. They maintain their levels. When I say that, I'm talking about the defensive line, the linebacker, the safeties. You see these levels. They maintain their levels of defense, and it's hard to work your way through them. They keep their eyes in the backfield. They're good tacklers, and they know their structure so well that they can start learning the tendencies that you have on offense.
Here's Stroud under a little pressure. Oh, and great catch. Emeka Egbuka. As Stroud threads the needle. That's a gain of 28.
And they finally get that seam route. It's a nice route here. Egbuka is just able to get over the linebacker. That's Benson. And the ball's got to be there right away before the safety arrives. And it was. That was on time, on target from Stroud. His best throw of the day by far.
1st down and 10 of the 31. Play fake. C.J. Stroud winds up. Delivers. Oh, Harrison. What a grab. Just like his pops. Marvin Harrison Jr. A gain of 18.
I mean, when he makes this throw, I'm sitting up here and I'm seeing, all I see is the white jerseys with eyes in the backfield. There's 3 guys covering Marvin Harrison, and he cuts it up and over, layers it, and Harrison stretches out to make the catch. That's outstanding. I'm telling you, this guy, the sky is the limit for Marvin Harrison Jr. I truly believe that this man right here on your screen will be the best receiver in the NFL in about 4 or 5 years.
First down and 10 at the 13. Ohio State produces incredible receivers. C.J. Stroud in the end zone. Touchdown, Ibuka. Emeka Ibuka. 13 yards.
Well, now we're seeing some execution there. 3 straight plays. It was the seam route to Ibuka, thrown beautifully. Then it was Harrison, excellent catch in triple coverage. And then watch the timing and ball placement here. Stroud, beautiful arc on this ball, just getting it over the safety. And Ibuka, late hands, goes up against it. Watch this. He doesn't track it. Late hands. Boom. Late hands. Merriweather cannot come up and knock that ball out of his hands. And it is a touchdown, Buckeyes.
Stroud 4 for 4, 61 yards and a touchdown on this drive. And Ohio State takes a 39-10 lead with 4:43 to go in the third quarter. We talked at the beginning of our broadcast about this Ohio State offense, best in the country against a really rugged and tough Iowa defense. How would they fare in the first half? They struggled, settling for 4 field goals. Second half, you see the adjustments that Ryan Day and his staff have made, and now it's starting to get easy for the world-famous Buckeyes. This year, the Big Ten East will be decided on Big Noon. Next week, Ohio State travels to Happy Valley to take on Penn State, and then Thanksgiving weekend, the Buckeyes will host Michigan in the greatest rivalry in college football. All eyes will be on Big Noon as 3 top 10 teams navigate the gauntlet. That is one of the best divisions in all of college football, and there are the remaining schedules. Tough game for Ohio State against Penn State, then Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, and the Wolverines. Michigan, they've got the Spartans next week. Rutgers, Nebraska, tough game against Illinois, and then the world-famous Buckeyes. And then Penn State, Minnesota, Bucks next week, and so forth and so on.
Well, they've certainly found a little bit of a rhythm, and those last 3 plays, those were the best offensive plays by far. You see the execution there, Gus, the rhythm and timing of the passing game. That's what you're more accustomed to seeing from Stroud and these wide receivers. And you know, really frankly, it was just a matter of time. You can't give them that many bites at the apple before they're going to find that rhythm, and they certainly have here in the third quarter.
Back-to-back plays of 27, 18, and 13 yards to finish that drive. But I think the thing to pay attention to more than anything, defensively for Ohio State, halfway through the third quarter, and Iowa is still south of 100 yards of total offense, so they're getting shut down. Padilla sacked again. Cody Simon. Got to give a lot of credit to Jim Knowles. This defensive coordinator has these guys in perfect position to make plays.
Well, and what they're doing is that they're just creating so much pressure with these loops. And right there, Simon's in there. Eichenberg is coming as well. And they disguise so well, Gus. That's what I think is really the unheralded strength of Jim Knowles in this defense, is that they hold their water. When you watch them, these guys in the back end, they just sit there and they don't move until the snap. And then they move and they can blitz, they can play coverage, they can do whatever they want.
Padilla guns it underneath. Nice throw, good catch. This time it's Nico Reganey. Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Well, Gus, you and I love these backstories. Why does Jim Knowles want to coach? Where did it come from? I'm going to take you back to the summer of 1988. He wrote a letter, that's how far back we're going, to his former coach at Cornell. He said, I miss the game. I miss being around a team. And his coach ended up calling him, offering him a job. He said, come coach, come be a part of it. I asked him yesterday, what was it that you missed? He said, I missed the smell of grass. I missed that team. He grew up in North Philly, tough environment. Being a part of a team was so important to him. And look how it's all played out.
That's a movement on the right side of the Iowa offensive line.
False start. Offense. 70. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
But you're right, Jenny. Jim Knowles in finance gave up the big check to coach football starting at Cornell. And what's special about this man? What is it that allows him to be the fixer to go in and rejuvenate defense?
Well, I think one, it's his teaching style. These guys understand what they're doing. They know how to operate the system. And then I also think it's this scheme, you know, and this scheme is hard to figure out from the opposing side.
Delayed handoff. Williams with running room. Williams on third down and 19. Drops the ball loose, out of bounds. Iowa will hold on to it. Ohio State with the chance for another turnover. Well, when we saw Oklahoma State take on Texas last year, we called that game. That Oklahoma State defense was swarming, fast, physical, and downright nasty.
That's exactly right. And Oklahoma State actually led the country with 4 sacks per game. We've seen that pressure now show up for Ohio State here today. There was that fumble. Tackle kind of coming from behind there, certainly loose, and that ball goes out of bounds. It looked like Jean-Baptiste had a try at it, but I believe they're saying it's fourth down because the ball came out short of the sticks. You can't fumble it forward and gain that yardage, so the ball comes back to the spot of the fumble, not where the ball goes out of bounds. I believe that's what the officials were communicating to us. That's Jerry McGinn, our white hat, and so it'll be fourth down for Iowa.
Fourth down and 1. Iowa 0 for 2 on fourth down conversions today. 2:35 to go third quarter on a beautiful day here in Columbus. The high expected to be 74 degrees. Gavin Williams, the lone setback, quarterback sneak. Let's see, looks like they have it, and a first down.
You know, but as this series goes along here, I'll try to point out the disguise as we see the push from this offensive line on the fourth down. There's Padilla. He needed to get that ball past the 35. Looks like he absolutely does. Nice job up front. Because you say, what makes him special? Well, he just makes it difficult on the offense. So it's all about these safeties, guys like Latham Ransom and Hickman. And you're going to watch these guys and how they move and how they operate.
Here's a handoff. Williams stood up at the line of scrimmage.
And they're constantly.
So what makes the safety such a big deal for this Ohio State defense now under Coach Knowles?
Well, because it's every defense, but the quarterback is always instructed. You've got to figure out the coverage by identifying the safety.
And he's playing 3 safeties, right, Joel?
There's generally 3 safeties based on the personnel group, and those 3 safeties do a great job of disguising the coverage. Do you have a single safety? Do you have a 2-deep look? See, like right here, you've got 3 receivers down low and these 3 Ohio State Buckeyes. This would suggest that you're in some sort of man coverage.
Padilla. And sacked again. How about the Buckeyes on D? Tuimoloau.
Watch the shift. Okay, so Gus, you've got eyes now on the backfield like this, and then the shift, and you've got a safety going deep into the middle, and you've got zone coverage. And so Padilla thinks it's one coverage before the snap, and then he gets the ball and it's something different. And in that moment that he's trying to process that information, he holds the ball, and that's what allows the rush to get home.
So does one safety serve as a hybrid of a safety and a linebacker?
Yeah, it's because it's a 4-2-5 style of defense where any one of them can drop down into a linebacker position.
Williams breaks it back, looking for the first down, and he won't get it. Tackled short of the first down marker. Steel Chambers. Jair Brown, 12-yard run on 3rd and 14. That brings up 4th and 2. And that may take us to the end of the third quarter.
But I think that's what makes them so good is any one of those 3 can drop down anytime. So it's not always one guy or always another. This Ohio State defense, they certainly look like they are for real. The offense, they found their rhythm in this third quarter. This is more of what we expected to see from the Buckeyes after the half. It's 40-10 in the shoe.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Buckeyes throwing it into high gear now. And they are being led by their defense as we take a look at the start of the fourth quarter. Ohio State scoring 14 in the third. And Iowa ready to punt it away. On 4th and 2. Ibuka, the deep man. Over to the sideline. He has it at the 10-yard line. 46-yard punt.
Our Pacific Life game summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. And really the game summary comes down to rhythm and Ohio State's lack of ability to establish it offensively in the first half, but then finding it in that third quarter. These were those 3 plays at the end of previous drive that really established that in the passing game, ending with that touchdown for Emeka Ibuka, and they've certainly been better offensively in this second half. You know, not all that dissimilar from, Gus, a game that we called a few weeks ago in Iowa City. You know, when Michigan struggled in the first half with this Iowa team up and then found their rhythm a little bit in the second.
First down and 10 of the 10. Buckeyes stand on the ground.
This tail end of the season is so interesting because I just think that these two programs, and we keep bringing up Michigan, right? But Gus, it just seems like they are 2 freight trains aimed right at each other.
You used that analogy in our meeting yesterday.
Yeah, in my lecture that you were listening.
That's right.
Well done,
Professor.
I appreciate that.
Klatt.
And you know, we were just around Michigan 4 straight weeks, and now here we are around Ohio State, and this is what they have in front of them. And Michigan clearly has to figure out this Michigan State issue that they've had with Mel Tucker there, and they're going to get a chance next week. But there's their slate, but it feels like they are just aimed right at each other after last year and the bad blood, and I mean all of it is. It feels like it's just building to that. And last week, that's when it really, I think, came to a crescendo for me when Michigan handled Penn State. I thought Ohio State would play better today, but they're certainly playing better here in the second half.
Stroud delivers deep down the field. Yeah, it's caught. Fleming. And a walk-in touchdown, Buckeyes, 79 yards. Iowa defense, who? That's what Ohio State's saying in the second half.
Well, they finally get an explosive play of 30 yards or more, and this one comes from Julian Fleming. Just a really straight post route, and he's going to be working against Cooper DeJean, who gives him too much space. Great throw in stride. Fleming is able to just catch that one and head to the end zone. That is tough to defend if you're Cooper DeJean. Terrific throw by C.J. Stroud.
So here's the question. What's the big adjustment that Ohio State has made in the second half offensively against this tough Iowa defense?
I think it's the passing game found their rhythm. The wide receivers and Stroud not on the same page early. They have found the same page here in the second half. Stroud throwing on time, accurately, and now big plays because of it.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. These guys bumping heads here. 47-10, the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes have turned it on.
Did you see the hat fly out of there? That's amazing.
You know what we call that? The decleater.
The decleater?
That's right.
Always a pleasure and an honor to be able to visit Ohio Stadium, the shoe, and cover the Bucks. The best teams in America, if not the best team. Georgia right now at that #1 spot. Followed by Ohio State, Michigan at 3 in the AP. Big Ten having a great year. From the goal line, Caleb Johnson crosses the 20 up to the 30 before finally tumbling out of bounds.
Let's take a look at our college football mayhem moments, sponsored by Allstate. And it's been this defense creating mayhem with these turnovers. They have been all over the field. Ohio State came in. This was one of the areas that they needed to work on, is getting takeaways, and they've done that. And they've done a wonderful job at doing that against this struggling Iowa offense.
Defense today, 5 takeaways. That's a big number. First down and 10 at the 31. Padilla in to Petrus, and he'll be sacked. Behind the line of scrimmage again, Jerron Gage.
This defensive line, they might not have the star that they've had in previous years yet. You know, like they don't have a Chase Young this year, but they're really good. And I do think that this defense overall, as far as the personnel, I think that the sum are greater than the parts. There's Caden Curry. He's a freshman, number 92, getting a little run here. He's got 8 tackles on the year. But, you know, Jim Knowles has coached this group up, and I feel like as a group of 11 or whichever 11 are on the field, you know, they've got a chance to become what I consider a very good defense. Not just, there's a couple categories. Gus, I would say, like, when you're Ohio State and you've got an offense like they've had over the last few years, you're trying to just find a defense that you would call a requisite defense. Hey, can we just put something on the field on that side that will help us a little bit, versus last year when they were clearly a weakness. And they've done even more than that. You know, again, they are playing really well on this defensive side, and I think that's the scary part, because as good as Iowa's defense played in the first half, you look up, it's 47-10.
Third down and 11. Padilla slings it out wide. Caught. Looks like his first down, Sam Laporta. I thought Coach Knowles was interesting in our meeting yesterday when we brought up the fact that Ryan Day has publicly said that at Ohio State, we have to win every game.
That's right. That's
okay, we have to win every game. The expectations are to win every game. We have to beat Michigan. We have to win the Big Ten championship, and we have to win the national championship. They won the Rose Bowl last year, and you would have thought that they finished, you know, 500.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
4th down and 1. Iowa going for it. Padilla out wide, incomplete, and Iowa will turn it over on down. And we asked him the question, Coach Knowles, what is it like to have to coach under those kind of expectations? And he was really honest about it. That's why you come to Ohio State. You want to be a champion, you got to win every game. And so far, that's what they've done. 47-10 our score. Ohio State finding their rhythm on offense, but we came into this game talking about this great offense versus a great defense in Iowa. But what's actually happened is we're seeing the development of a great defense here at Ohio State. First down and 10. Stroud looking. Stroud bottled up, backed it up, reverses, dumps it off. He's got his tight end, Cade Stover. And Stover breaking a tackle, getting upfield. Hurdling.
Hey, that is a big fella out there on the track. That's like on the back stretch of the 400 hurdle. Watch this. Castro's coming up and he says, "Gone." Woo! All right, Cade Stover. I see you, 6'4", 255. Tough as nails, great in the run game, but he has been a nice development in this passing game. What a move.
First down to the 20-yard line. Stroud near side, Harrison. And Harrison goes down short of the first down marker. How about Stover, though? He's played 3 different positions as a Buckeye tight end. Defensive end and linebacker, where he had 6 tackles against Utah in the Rose Bowl a season ago. Not surprising since he was a Buckeyes Award semifinalist, top linebacker as a senior at Lexington High School in Ohio.
You know, more importantly, though, you know, the credibility in the locker room, you know what that's about?
Stroud in trouble, breaks a tackle, looking, throws, end zone, broken up in the end zone. Nice job, Harrison, the target. DeJean got a tip on that football.
The credibility in the locker room comes in when you ask everybody, like, okay, it goes down. You know what I mean, right? It goes down.
Right.
Who do you want to be with? And who walks out of that room as the last man standing? And they're like, oh, it's Tommy Eichenberg and Cade Stover for sure. And that's what they say. And those two are roommates. I think that the toughness on this team really come from those two guys. And I think he's really helped in the run game. You know, and Ruckert was a really good player. And they needed to replace him with someone that could be good in the run game and in the passing game. And they found that with Stover.
Stroud underneath and broken up. Incomplete. That's Kayvon Merriweather. Is that an interception? Yes, it is. Wow. Merriweather. What a job. Second interception of the day for C.J. Stroud. If this is an interception.
Well, there's
flag on the play.
Flags in the backfield, Gus. What a play by Kayvon Merriweather. Full extension.
There's 2 fouls on the play. Holding, offense, number 74. Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 91. Those fouls offset. 3rd down.
So the offense for Ohio State will stay on the field.
Stroud was trying to anticipate that window, but again, you know, I keep talking about the eyes in the backfield, and these defenders are able to react because look at the eyes. Merriweather is just sitting there staring at Stroud the entire time and can go wherever he's looking, and he's able to make a break on that ball.
3rd down and 1. Henderson, the single setback, quarterback sneak. And we will see.
You know, at this point, I think that if Ohio State would have played a little bit better in the first half, I don't think we'd be seeing these guys out there. You wouldn't see Stroud out there. You wouldn't see, you know, Abuka out there. But I think that Ryan Day is trying to continue to establish rhythm up 47-10 here in the 4th.
Trying to get some reps for his first teamers. First teamers on the field. The duration. Here's a handoff and a 1st down. Henderson. Jack Campbell with the tackle.
You would imagine this would be the last series for those starters. So as a coaching staff, you're just praying to get through this series, keep everybody healthy as Henderson on a 4th down is able to move the chains.
I had a chance to talk to C.J. Stroud yesterday at lunch during our meetings. Pleasant young man, confident young man, brilliant. And I mean brilliant mind for this game of football. 1st and goal at the 9. Play action. Stroud with time. Bouncing around. Now backside turn. Throws off his back foot. Out of bounds.
Great coverage. You just can't fake them out. You know, Ohio State, they get space and create space so well with their wide receivers because of their route running. But the difference is that this Iowa team, they just don't move. They sit there and they just don't react until the quarterback reacts because their eyes are in the backfield. They're not looking at everything going on with the wide receivers. That's why Stroud's holding the ball. They do an excellent job. These guys, eyes in the backfield, eyes in the backfield, eyes in the backfield.
2nd down and goal at the 9, and they'll run it. Abuka, and he'll be tackled inside the 5. We did not see Jackson Smith and Jigba return after he went out in the first half. He was on a route. Ball was thrown a little long. He came up limping a bit. Remember, he's been out most of this season because of a hamstring injuries. And Joel, from what I understand, those hamstring injuries take some time.
I mean, I'd love to tell you I know, but I was never fast enough to tweak a hammy, so I don't know.
Third down goal at the 3. They flip it out. Ball caught. Touchdown, Ohio State. Mitch Rossi. (53-10).
Nice job by Stroud putting a little touch on that one. He had a defender right in his face as he came off of that fake. And Rossi did a nice job getting himself open off of that run fake and then taking it into the end zone.
37 unanswered points by Ohio State. Stroud, the last time he was on the field, threw 6 touchdowns against Michigan State. And he's starting to put that ball on the money here in Columbus against Iowa. Buckeyes with a huge lead, 54-10. Welcome back. 54-10 our score. 7:59 to go here in the fourth quarter. Don't forget, folks, coming up after this game, Oregon UCLA, battle of 2 top 25 teams. Chip Kelly taking on his former team, Oregon. That should be a thriller on Fox Sports today. Can't wait for Joel to get home. Get back to the hotel to watch that game.
That's going to be a good one. Winner of that game finds himself in a great position in the Pac-12.
Now, speaking of this game, we came into this game, Joel, talking about Ohio State's offense versus Iowa's defense. But I think what's actually emerged is the Ohio State defense showing what they could potentially do as they continue to warm up for this season.
Gotten takeaways. Gotten to the quarterback.
5 takeaways.
And in a normal world, I'd be like, man, that was really impressive. I'll be honest, I don't know, because of Iowa's offense, right, and the struggles that they've had, in particular on their offensive line. Gus, I think Ohio State's defense is really good. I think we're going to find out a lot next week at Penn State when this team rolls into Happy Valley. And again, I just come back to this. It's just like you can't watch a play of an Ohio State game or a Michigan game without thinking of that matchup later in November.
Yes.
You know, wow, what does this mean? Is the run defense good enough? You know, I mean, and for the most part, this run defense has been good enough. But boy, I mean, they're going to be challenged.
But it's a different kind of running team with Michigan this year. Blake Corum,
he's good.
Donovan Edwards.
And I think more importantly, that offensive line for Michigan is, I think, better than they were a year ago. And the number, Gus, for this Ohio State defense, you know the number that should be driving them? 566.
What is that?
That's the number of yards that they gave up on the ground to Oregon in a loss here and Michigan in a loss in Ann Arbor. 297 to Michigan.
And I thought Jim Knowles was interesting when we asked him, Joel, yesterday, if when he took the job, if he went back and looked at the tape of what Ohio State did defensively the prior year.
And he said, he just shook his head. He's like, nope, nope. And listen, you get both trains of thought. Some guys want to evaluate the talent that they're about to inherit. Jim Knowles wanted desperately to give all of these players a clean slate. And he didn't want any preconceived notions of what they could or couldn't do. I think more particular, couldn't do. And so he rolled in and he said, I did not want to watch anything. And this is the improvement that we've seen so far from last year to this year. And the big one there, total defense. And improving by 120 yards. There's only one defense in college football that has improved themselves by 120 yards per game, and that's Illinois. And they're really good young defensive coordinator Ryan Walters. They're improved on third down. They're better in the red zone. This is just a vastly improved defense from what we saw a year ago.
Third down and 2. And the handoff to Johnson. He picks up the first down. When you look back, flag on the play.
Well, I think the ball came up. And I think Ohio State got it.
Another turnover. That'll be 6 today for the Buckeyes. What was wrong with this defense last year, J.K.?
Well, they were structurally unsound, in particular early in the season. And we found that out against Oregon. And then late in the year, through war of attrition, they just did not have the depth or the physical play up front to stand up to a really good run game. That ball clearly out for Caleb Johnson. Now it's just about, did they recover it before going out of bounds? And it looks like they probably did. But that's what happened, right? So they tried to fix some of the structure, and it was a bit of a patchwork. But when they got to the point where they had to face Michigan, they were not physically tough enough. This defense just might be.
54-10, Ohio State on top of Iowa as the Buckeyes try to make it to 7-0 on the season. They've really kicked it into high gear here in the second half. Kyle McCord, sophomore from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, St. Joseph's Prep. He'll get a chance to come in and get some PT. The Buckeyes leading big. And they'll hand it off. This is Hayden with his first carry of the day. We'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Make it 2nd and 9 at the 45.
New quarterback in, Kyle McCord, sophomore from New Jersey. Good player. Like the way he throws. I've seen him in practice a couple of times. 12 of 16 this season, 157 pass yards. Basically, I go through every single game on film, and about this time of every game, I'm like, well, there's Kyle McCord. I mean, these starters very rarely in, and for as much as we could say, like, hey, Ohio State didn't look their best in the first half. Nice completion there with G. Scott. Gus, you look up, and they got 54 points. Iowa's got 10. And this is the most points that Iowa has given up in the Ferentz era.
As you said yesterday in our meeting, C.J. Stroud, with this team, this offense, he's driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's too much. It's an avalanche. And unfortunately for Iowa, like this defense, if they could play 8, 9, 10 series against Ohio State, they would have a good shot. But their offense can't sustain drives. And so because of that, looks like he's going to go ahead and get the first down there. Nice little inside screen.
Caleb Brown with the catch.
Because we've done Iowa enough to know they need to shorten the game, keep their offense on the field, keep the clock moving, and play a 10-possession game. This is Ohio State's 15th possession. They can't play that game, right? Just too many bites at the apple for a really talented Buckeye team. And Kirk Ferentz knows it. They play in the small margins. They walk the fine line at Iowa, and this year they just don't have an offense that can complement what I think is an excellent defense. By the way, 54 points on a top 3 scoring defense in college football. It's wild.
Arlen Bruce back deep. And he has it at the 6. And Bruce will get up to the 20 before being hauled down. Kyle Stokes with the tackle on special teams for Ohio State.
Hi, partner. What are your thoughts? You tell me. I'm always giving you my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this Buckeyes?
I think Ohio State is the best football team in the country right now.
Even the way that we saw them play in the first half?
Yeah, it was a test, almost like a scrimmage. But once they figured it out, because what I like about Ryan Day is what he does at halftime.
Great adjustments.
Always. He's knocked on the door, played in the national championship game. I think he's got the right players. I think he has the right defensive coordinator this year. And they have Michigan at home. They're going to go up to Penn State next week. That will be interesting, but I think the Nittany Lions were exposed last week in Ann Arbor.
Well, Ohio State's going to have to run the ball better next week because we saw Penn State struggle stopping the run last week. And Ryan Day's going to look at a film in which his Buckeyes had 53 yards on the ground, 1.9 per carry. So that's something that they'll be able to look at to try to fix. you know, they have not been tested, right? Like Toledo is still the only team with a winning record that this Buckeyes team has beaten and played this year. And
Notre Dame, not as good as advertised.
that's correct.
Next week, Ohio State and Penn State. Buckeyes have won 5 straight and 9 of 10, but the average score over the last 10 games is 35-23, and there have been 5 one-score games in that span. You know Beaver Stadium is going to be lit. Nice catch on the sideline by Brody Brecht.
I'm partial to Brody Brecht. He's a ball player, not just a football player. He's a baseball player as well for Iowa. Redshirt freshman. He was banged up a little bit in the spring and obviously got to them late because of playing baseball and banged up a little bit in fall camp. We're hoping to get him healthier as the season goes along.
But as you mentioned, Brody is a right-handed pitcher on the Hawkeyes baseball team. Freshman All-American after going 1-3 with an ERA of 3.18 in 17 appearances last spring. 44 strikeouts. Ball punted, and it'll be fielded at 34. This is the hardest pitch to hit in baseball. Slider.
Well, for me, there was a lot of them, but I thought the slider. Yeah, you know, the slider is tough. Although, you know, I told this story on my podcast. The moment I knew, like, hey, you might need to go get an education. We were facing the Cubs in an extended spring training game. I played minor league baseball a lifetime ago, folks. And we were playing the Cubs, and there was a guy making a rehab start. His name was Mark Pryor. And Mark Pryor was making a rehab start down from the big league team, and so he wasn't throwing breaking balls, Gus, and we knew it.
He was just throwing fastballs.
He was going to throw 50 fastballs, and then that was just it. It was on a pitch
That should have been kind of easy.
Right,
You could have timed that
fastball,
minor league. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to get my
All you
foot
got to
down.
do is just sit dead red, right?
First pitch, didn't even see it. I was like, okay, act like you saw it. Stepped out of the box like I didn't like it. It was right down the middle. And I thought to myself, uh-oh. Next pitch, I was like, just swing. I swing, didn't really see it. Strike 2, 0-2. Now I'm panicking. I'm like, okay. Like, I know it's a fastball. He knows. I got to at least foul it off. So I basically close my eyes and swing right through it. Strike 3, 3 straight fastballs. Sit down. I sat down in the dugout, took my helmet off, and I thought to myself, you know what? College education is probably in my future.
Great story. Great story. 30 seconds ago, Ohio State will improve to 7-0. Buckeyes make it look easy in the second half as they defeat Iowa 54-10. What we learned today about this Ohio State team?
Well, we learned that they could adjust, and we learned that this passing game could find themselves in a tough spot, then get into rhythm and dominate in the second half.
All right, let's go downstairs to Jenny with Coach Day.
Well, it really was kind of a tale of two halves in a lot of ways, Coach Day. Congrats on the win, but you look up and 54-10. What was said at the break, and what adjustments were made to find that rhythm offensively?
Well, what we talked about at halftime was the defense had to continue to do what they were doing, which we thought they were playing very, very well. And the offense just needed to finish off some drives, and the scoreboard would look a lot different. We felt like we dominated on defense really in that first half. And then, in offense, they're very good on defense. And it was hard early on. And then we stuck with it and then got the rhythm a little bit there in the third and beginning of the fourth.
You highlighted your defense there, but what specifically has Coach Knowles brought to this group? 6 takeaways today. I mean, that's impressive. What have you been most pleased with the way they've improved this season?
Well, the winning line of scrimmage, anytime you play Iowa, they do a great job of running the ball. But I think it's just the confidence. I think when you match the experience of last year, those guys got a lot of reps under their belt. And then, just the energy that Coach Knowles and his staff is bringing, it's making for complimentary football, and the guys are playing with confidence.
We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. Ohio State victorious 54-10 over Iowa. Coming up after the break, we'll take you out to UCLA, Oregon. Big game, folks, there. For Joel, Jenny, I'm Gus saying goodbye from Columbus.